Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here today because this episode is all about one of the most powerful moments in life, the moment you decide. Not when you hope, not when you wish, but when you truly make that inner choice to change. You see, every new chapter begins not with luck or chance, but with a decision. The decision to take control of your life, your goals, and your growth. And that includes your English journey too. Today, I want you to listen carefully and feel the message behind every word. Because maybe, just maybe, this will be the day everything changes for you, for your mindset, and for your future. So, take a deep breath, focus, and let's begin. It's the day when everything changes. Not the day you hope, not the day you wish, not even the day you pray for something different. It's the day you decide. And that day is rare but powerful. Most people drift through years, sometimes decades, waiting for something outside of them to change, a better job, a lucky break, someone's approval. They keep saying, if only my situation were better, if only the company noticed me, if only the economy turned around, if only my family understood. But nothing changes. The calendar flips, birthdays come and go, yet the story stays the same. Why? Because nothing truly changes until a real decision is made, not a wish, not a preference, a decision. The word decide comes from the same root as homicide and suicide. It means to cut off. When you decide, you cut off every other possibility. You burn the bridges behind you and say, this is it. No more going back. I remember sitting once in a small apartment, surrounded by bills and broken promises I had made to myself. And at that moment, I said, enough. No big announcement, no audience, just a quiet decision that changed everything. Because one true decision can end 1,000 bad habits. One decision can rewrite years of wandering. One decision can turn regret into purpose. Many people wait for a sign, for lightning, for something to push them. But real change doesn't start outside. It starts inside the moment you say, I'm done drifting. That's when your new life begins. Not when you wish things were better, but when you decide they will be. Not someday, but today. The world doesn't respond to good intentions. It responds to action and resolve. People around you can feel it when you've truly decided. You walk differently, your voice sounds stronger, and your focus sharpens. The indecision fades, and the path becomes clear. Not easy, but clear. If you look back at your life, you'll see those moments. The day you quit that habit, the day you walked away from something that no longer served you, the day you stopped waiting and started doing. And that same kind of decision can happen again, today. Because this message isn't just about life. It's also about learning English. Maybe you've been hoping to get better. Maybe you've wished to sound fluent and confident. But progress doesn't come from hope. It comes from a decision. The moment you decide, I will practice every day, or I will speak even when I'm afraid, that's when your English begins to change. Fluency doesn't start in a classroom, it starts in your mind, the moment you decide to never give up. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Start now. Make today the day you decide to learn, speak, and grow. Because when you finally decide, everything else begins to move in your favor. This is your moment. This is your day. Decide and change everything. Maybe you felt it. That quiet but powerful moment when you realize something inside you can't keep living the same way anymore. It's not always loud, not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just a whisper in your heart that says, enough. It might come in the middle of the night when you're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how you ended up where you are. Or maybe it happens during a conversation with a friend, or in that one long look in the mirror when you finally see the truth. That's the power of a real decision. It changes your entire direction, even before the first step. So ask yourself, has that day come for you? Have you really decided to turn your life around? If not, maybe today is the day. Not another wish, not another excuse. The turning point you're waiting for isn't somewhere out there. It's here, right now, in this moment. It's the second you draw the line and say, no more drifting, no more waiting. This is it. That's the day everything changes, because you've decided it will. And let's be honest, real change doesn't always begin with motivation or inspiration. Yes, inspiration can wake you up, give you a spark of energy, maybe even push you to start something new. But the day you truly change your life, it's usually not the day you feel inspired. It's the day you feel fed up. Not just a little uncomfortable, not just a little bored, but truly tired of where you are. It's the day when the pain of staying the same finally becomes greater than the fear of changing. People think growth begins with a smile and a perfect morning, but often it starts with frustration, with a heavy feeling in your chest, with a sleepless night full of thoughts like, how did I get here? How long have I been putting up with this? That's when something inside you wakes up. That's when the door to real transformation opens. Because life has a way of getting your attention, sometimes softly, sometimes with a jolt. Pain, frustration, and disappointment are not enemies. They are messengers. They come to tell you, you were meant for more. You weren't created just to survive, just to pay bills, just to move through life half awake. You were meant to grow, to learn, to create, to live fully. There always comes a moment when the discomfort of staying the same feels heavier than the effort it takes to change. That's the moment people move. That's when they act. Maybe you felt it before, that inner voice saying, it's time. And if you're listening to this now, maybe that moment is happening for you. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Because when you finally decide to change, when you choose to grow, you've already taken the first step toward becoming who you were meant to be. The truth is, change often begins in pain. The job that once felt like your future can suddenly feel like a cage. The relationship that once made you feel alive now feels empty, routine, without spark. Your clothes start to fit tighter, your wallet gets thinner, and your dreams feel further away. You catch yourself making the same excuses again and again. It's not the right time. I'll start next week, maybe later. But deep down, you know, you're tired of waiting, tired of explaining why things still haven't changed. And then one day, it hits you. The pain becomes too much to ignore. You feel it in your chest, in your mind, in your bones. That ache, that frustration, it's a message. It's life whispering. You're meant for more. Don't hide from it. Don't drown it in distractions, scrolling, or comfort food. Don't silence it with noise. Let it burn just long enough to push you out of your comfort zone. That fire inside you isn't your enemy. It's your signal. It's trying to tell you that you've settled for less than you deserve. A turning point doesn't come from simply knowing what you want. It comes from feeling the weight of what you've been tolerating. It comes when the pain of staying the same finally costs more than the effort to change. For one person, it might be the look in their child's eyes when they break another promise. For another, it's the doctor's warning, the final unpaid bill, or one more wasted year. Whatever it is for you, let it sting. Let it shake you awake. Because nothing changes until you say with full conviction, I've had enough. Not, I wish things were different, but I refuse to live like this another day. That's the seed of every breakthrough. Real decisions aren't made when life feels comfortable. They're made in the fire of frustration. You don't run from the pain. You use it as leverage to move your life in a new direction. So, the next time you feel that deep ache, that quiet voice whispering, this isn't it, don't bury it. Listen. That's the starting gun. That's the moment you look in the mirror and finally declare, the pain has done its job. Now I'm ready to grow. From that moment on, let every bit of discomfort remind you that you're standing at the edge of transformation. Let it fuel you, not hold you back. The day you truly turn your life around doesn't begin with a smile. It begins with a frown, a wince, and finally, a roar. Enough. That's when the world around you begins to shift. Because you've shifted inside. And now comes the deeper part. The engine of real change, your philosophy. Because after the decision, after the fire, after you've said enough, you must ask, what's next? That's where most people stumble. They feel inspired, they get emotional, but they never change their philosophy. And that's why nothing truly changes. Your life is built on your philosophy, your beliefs about work, about money, about time, about your own worth. Results are never random. They're the fruit of your thoughts. If the fruit isn't right, it means the root needs to change. So ask yourself honestly, how have I been thinking? What ideas have I accepted without realizing it? Because I learned something powerful long ago. If you want to change your life, you must first change your mind. That's where the real shift begins. A poor philosophy about work will make you hate Mondays and live only for Fridays. But a strong philosophy says, this is my craft, my chance to grow, to create, to bring value. Suddenly, every hour becomes an investment, every effort a step towards something meaningful. The same job, the same life, but a completely new perspective. And that's exactly how learning English works too. Many people say, I wish I could speak fluently, but they never change their philosophy about learning. They wait for motivation, for comfort, for a perfect moment. But real progress starts the moment you decide, the moment you treat every lesson, every mistake, every word as an investment in your future. So let your frustration push you, not paralyze you. Let the discomfort of your limits remind you that you're meant to expand them. Whether in life or in English, the moment you say enough is the same moment everything begins to change. You see, English, just like life, changes the moment you make a decision. Not when you say, I wish I could speak better, or I hope one day I'll understand everything. No, it changes when you say, from today, I'm taking this seriously. I'm done waiting for motivation. I'm done being afraid of mistakes. I'm building this skill every single day. No matter what, most people drift in language learning the same way they drift in life. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait until they feel ready. But that day never comes. The real breakthrough happens when you stop waiting and start doing. Because your fluency won't appear suddenly. It grows one word, one sentence, one podcast at a time. Every moment you choose English over distraction, you're building the future version of yourself, the one who speaks with confidence and freedom. And yes, it's not easy. You'll have days when you forget words, when your pronunciation feels wrong, when grammar seems impossible. But remember this, these are not failures. They're evidence of progress. Just like the discomfort in life pushes you toward change, the frustration in learning English pushes you toward mastery. Every time you feel stuck, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that your brain is growing, rewiring, adapting to a new rhythm of thought. So don't run from that discomfort. Use it. When you can't remember a word, when you hesitate before speaking, when you listen to something and understand only half, let it fuel you. That's your mind saying, I'm ready to grow. The more you face those moments, the faster your confidence will expand. And here's something powerful. English is not just a language, it's a mirror of your mindset. If you learn with fear, your progress will be slow. But if you learn with curiosity and courage, you'll grow faster than you ever imagined. Every word you speak is a small act of faith. Faith in yourself, faith that your voice matters, that your message deserves to be heard. Don't compare your English to anyone else's. Just like we said earlier, comparison steals energy. Some people learn faster, others slower. It doesn't matter. What matters is consistency. Speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Write one paragraph, listen to one English podcast, watch one video without subtitles. Each step counts. Each small effort becomes part of your transformation. And remember this, your English journey is not just about communication, it's about confidence. Every new word you learn, every sentence you build, every time you speak without fear, you're not just improving your language, you're becoming stronger, braver, and more focused. So, if today feels like a turning point, let it be. Let this be the day you decide not only to change your life, but to master your English. Because the moment you decide, truly decide, everything begins to move. The same mind that once said, I can't, will soon say, I did. And when that happens, you'll realize something beautiful. You were never just learning English. You were learning yourself. When your thinking changes, everything changes. Your mindset is the master key. Think about money, for example. If you treat money like an enemy, it will always run from you. But if you see it as a tool, as a helper, it will start working for you. Everything starts with your philosophy, the way you think about it. The same goes for time. Some people kill time, others invest it. Yet both have the same 24 hours. The difference is not in time itself, it's in how they see it. Your time is your life, and how you spend it defines who you become. So, ask yourself, what's your philosophy about your time? Are you wasting it, or are you shaping your future with it? And then there's your potential. How do you talk to yourself? Are you constantly saying, I can't do it, I'm not ready, it's too hard? Or do you lift yourself up and say, I'll find a way, I'm learning, I can improve? Do you let the world write your story? Or are you holding the pen? Because these questions aren't small, they decide your direction in life. Every habit, every choice, every success grows out of the philosophy you live by. For me, everything started to shift when I began asking better questions. I stopped repeating old thoughts and started challenging them. Instead of saying, I can't, I asked, how could I? Instead of saying, that's not for someone like me, I began asking, why not me? When I stopped blaming the economy, my past, or my luck, and started upgrading my thinking, that's when my life began to change. You can't build a new life with an old mind. The good news is, your philosophy is not permanent. It can be examined, challenged, and rewritten. You can decide what to believe. Read books that open your mind. Listen to voices that inspire growth. Question everything that limits you. Ask yourself, why do I think this way about success? About money? About myself? If the answer feels weak, replace it with a stronger one. So don't wait to upgrade your philosophy. Don't just get emotional. Get intentional. Don't just react. Reflect. Your life is a house and philosophy is the foundation. If you want your dreams to stand strong, make sure your ideas are solid, built on truth and courage. Because once you change how you think, you change what becomes possible. Your future doesn't start with luck or circumstances, it starts with philosophy. Decision is the spark, but philosophy is the engine. Once that engine runs smoothly, your road ahead becomes wider, brighter, full of new opportunities. And now we reach one of the most powerful turning points in life: responsibility. The day you truly turn your life around is the day you stop waiting for someone else to do it for you. No more blaming, no more finger pointing, no more waiting for help. That's the moment you take ownership, and with it, your power. Yes, at first it feels uncomfortable. Blaming others is easy. You can say, "It's my boss's fault. It's the system. It's the weather." For a while, it even feels comforting. But every time you give away responsibility, you give away power. You trade your ability to change for the illusion of an excuse. Excuses are cheap, but power is priceless. Responsibility isn't a punishment. It's your greatest privilege. It means everything. The wins, the lessons, the growth belongs to you. It means you are no longer a passenger, you're the driver. And that's where transformation truly begins. Now, let's connect this to English, because your philosophy about learning shapes your progress too. If you keep thinking, English is hard, I'll never sound fluent, I'm too old to learn, then that's exactly what your results will reflect. But if you shift your mindset, if you start saying, every day I'm improving, every word I learn matters, mistakes help me grow, everything changes. When you take responsibility for your English journey, no more blaming school, teachers, or time, you gain control. You start creating results instead of waiting for them. You realize English isn't a wall, it's a door, and you're the one holding the key. So remember, your future, in life and in English, doesn't depend on luck or talent. It depends on your philosophy. Change the way you think, and you'll change what's possible for you. Stop waiting, because that someone is you. The real transformation begins the day you look in the mirror and say, if it's going to change, it's up to me. If it's going to get better, I'll be the one to make it happen. That moment, when you take full responsibility for your life, is the moment your power returns. I remember a time in my own life when I blamed everything and everyone for how things were. Too many bills, not enough money, not enough support, not enough time. I could have built a perfect argument for why my life wasn't working, but one day I realized something painful and freeing. My excuses were costing me my future. Blame keeps you chained to the past. Responsibility sets you free. The moment you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, you become your own rescuer. The moment you stop hoping for a lucky break and instead become the break, everything shifts. You stop saying, someone should do something, and you realize that someone is me. It doesn't mean you control everything. Life will always bring challenges, surprises, and setbacks. But you do control your response. That's where your real strength lives. Responsibility isn't just about guilt or blame, it's about power. It means you have the ability to respond with courage, not with excuses. And this isn't always a popular idea. People often want quick fixes. They want someone to blame or someone to save them. But here's the truth. The best lives are built by people who take ownership of both victories and failures. When things go well, learn from it. When things fall apart, don't hide from it. Own it. Fix it. Grow from it. That's how you build real confidence, the kind that can face anything. When you reclaim responsibility, you stop drifting through life. You become the captain of your ship. The winds may blow, the waves may rise, but you hold the wheel. You navigate, you adjust, you keep going. The day you turn your life around is the day you stop outsourcing your destiny. Stop waiting for luck, for approval, for permission. From that moment forward, you live on your own terms, not at the mercy of the economy, not at the mercy of opinions, not at the mercy of fear. You become self-directed, a creator, not a victim. And this lesson applies perfectly to learning English too. If you've been waiting for someone to teach you perfectly, to motivate you, or to give you the secret method, here's the truth. The secret is you. The day you take full responsibility for your English, when you stop saying, I don't have time, I'm not good at it, or it's too late for me, that's the day you start growing for real. No teacher, no book, no app can replace your consistency and your decision to keep going. Yes, mistakes will happen. You'll forget words, mix up grammar, or feel frustrated. But that's not failure. That's feedback. That's learning. And when you take ownership of that process, your progress becomes unstoppable. Don't wait for someone to appear and fix your English. You are the teacher, the student, and the driver of your progress. Every time you speak, listen, or practice, you're steering your ship toward fluency. The ocean might be rough, but you're holding the wheel, and you're learning how to navigate. So, if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Your English, your success, your life, they're all in your hands. Make the decision, take ownership, start today. Because when you do, everything, absolutely everything, begins to move forward. You choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One of them shapes your future, the other steals it. The choice is always yours. The moment you realize that no one else is coming to save you, that the only person who can truly change your life is you, that's when your power begins to awaken. Pick up the pen, write the next chapter, take the next step, because no one can live your life for you, but you can create it for yourself. Ownership is where transformation begins. When you stop waiting and start doing, something incredible happens. You stop surviving and start building. You begin to shape a life that reflects your values, your dreams, your strength. The day you reclaim responsibility is the day you reclaim your future. But here's what most people miss. Making a decision is not enough. Emotion and motivation are powerful, but they fade. What keeps your turnaround alive, what keeps progress moving, is discipline. Emotion gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Think about it. How many times have you felt that burst of excitement, that New Year energy, that promise to yourself? This time, it'll be different. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, it is different. But then, life gets busy. The fire fades. The same old habits creep back in. That's why discipline matters more than motivation. Because discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the bridge between decision and achievement. It's not built overnight. It's built through daily consistency. It's those small, unglamorous actions. Waking up a little earlier, saving a little more, reading one more page, listening to one more English podcast, practicing one more sentence. Each action seems small on its own, but over time they compound, and suddenly you look back and realize you're living in the results of all those disciplined choices. I remember making promises to myself and breaking them. Every time, it hurt a little more. But the day I decided to keep even the smallest promise, that was the day everything began to shift. That's how discipline is built, not with big gestures, but with small commitments honored again and again. You brush your teeth, you write in your journal, you turn off distractions and focus for just 10 more minutes. You practice English when it's easier to scroll your phone. You keep doing it until it becomes part of who you are. Some people wait for the perfect moment for inspiration to strike. But discipline doesn't wait. Discipline whispers, do it anyway. Don't argue with your goals. Don't negotiate with the alarm clock. If you want the reward, you must pay the price, not once, but every single day. That's how you build a new identity. That's how the turnaround becomes real. Because discipline is the backbone of character. It's easy to stay on track when things are easy. The real test comes when no one's watching, when you're tired, when your mind says, skip it just this once. That's when discipline steps in and says, no, I made a promise to myself, and I intend to keep it. And don't confuse discipline with punishment. Discipline is not about restriction. It's about freedom. It frees you from guilt, from wasted time, from regret. It's not about living a perfect life. It's about living a life you can be proud of. You get to choose your pain. The pain of effort now or the pain of regret later. One leads to growth, the other to stagnation. So choose wisely. And when it comes to English, the same truth applies. You can wait for motivation or you can build discipline. The students who succeed aren't the ones who study only when they feel inspired. They're the ones who show up every day. They practice speaking even when it's uncomfortable. They listen to podcasts even when it's hard to understand. They read one paragraph more. Fluency doesn't come from emotion, it comes from discipline. Every word you learn, every mistake you correct, every day you stay consistent, that's you becoming stronger, step by step. So if you've been waiting for motivation, stop waiting. Build your English with discipline. Speak even when your confidence shakes. Study even when you're tired. Keep your promises to yourself, because one day you'll look back and realize you didn't just learn English, you became disciplined, confident, and unstoppable. The truth is simple but powerful. You can choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. And the difference between the two shapes your entire life. So let's make this practical. Don't try to fix everything at once. Start with one thing, one goal, one habit, and stay consistent. That's how you build the muscle of discipline. In the beginning, it's hard. Resistance feels heavy, but the more you practice, the lighter it gets. Your brain adapts, your willpower strengthens, and your habits start working for you. That's how momentum begins. Slowly, quietly, one small, disciplined act at a time. When you look at people who've completely transformed their lives, you'll notice something. It's not luck, and it's not talent. It's discipline. The willingness to keep showing up long after motivation is gone. The courage to do what others won't. That's what separates dreamers from achievers. The day you truly turn your life around is the day you say, no more excuses. From that moment on, discipline becomes your new standard. Motivation might start the engine, but discipline drives the miles. Build that bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and walk across it every day. Before long, you'll find yourself living on the other side. A new life, built step by step, one disciplined choice at a time. But there's something equally important we can't overlook: the power of your environment. Because the moment you decide to change your life, something else must change too. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the voices you allow into your mind. Your surroundings either nourish your growth or poison it. You can't plant new seeds in old soil and expect a new harvest. If you want to grow in a new direction, you need a new environment. Take a look around you. Who are you spending your days with? Are they cheering you on or holding you back? Do they challenge you to grow, or do they make you comfortable staying small? Here's something few people admit: sometimes the people who love you the most are the ones most afraid to see you grow. Not because they're bad, but because your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. Your ambition mirrors their hesitation. It makes them uncomfortable. That doesn't mean you stop loving them, but it might mean they can't walk with you on the next part of your journey. Some people will try to keep you where you are, because that's where they feel safe. Others will stretch you, challenge you, and encourage you to rise higher. Those are the people you need, because your environment isn't just physical, it's emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. It's the space that shapes your thinking, your habits, your energy. Years ago, I found myself surrounded by people who saw the world through a lens of limitation. Every new idea I shared was met with reasons why it wouldn't work. Every dream was greeted with warnings. Be careful. That's risky. You can't succeed here. They believed that mediocrity was safety, but I knew deep down it was a trap. And maybe you've experienced the same. People telling you, it's too late, you're not ready, it's too hard. But remember, their limitations don't have to become yours. Your vision doesn't need their approval to be valid. You don't need permission to grow. Now, let's connect this truth to your English journey, because your environment shapes that too. If you spend time with people who don't believe in growth, who mock mistakes, or who tell you you'll never sound fluent, you'll begin to doubt yourself. But if you surround yourself with English content, podcasts, books, conversations, and voices that lift you up, you'll feel your confidence expand. You can't learn English in an environment of fear or judgment. You need an environment that challenges you to speak, to listen, to think differently. The people and voices you allow into your learning journey matter. Choose those who inspire you, who encourage you to keep practicing, who remind you that every mistake is a step forward. So, choose your pain: the pain of discipline in your learning, or the pain of regret for never trying. Choose your environment, one that pushes you to grow, not one that keeps you stuck. Because English, like success, doesn't come from talent. It comes from consistency, courage, and the right atmosphere to grow. And one day, you'll look back and realize every disciplined choice, every hard study session, every podcast you listened to, all of it was building something bigger. Not just your English, but your identity. So there I was, surrounded by limitation, doubt, and small thinking. And I realized something. If I wanted to rise higher, I had to change my environment. I couldn't grow while breathing the same stale air of negativity. So I made a hard decision. I stepped away. I started spending my time differently. I found books that expanded my vision. I began listening to voices that believed in possibility. And little by little, my reality began to change. That's the thing about growth. It doesn't always require a revolution. Sometimes it starts with a quiet shift in what you allow around you. You start choosing what you listen to, what you read, what you consume. You stop feeding your mind with doubt and start feeding it with purpose. Because your environment is not just the people near you, it's also the information that surrounds you every single day. Think about it. What fills your mind when you wake up? Social media, news, complaints, or knowledge, inspiration, and words that strengthen you? Every voice you let in shapes the voice you speak with. Every thought you repeat becomes part of your philosophy. And over time, your philosophy becomes your life. That's why protecting your environment is one of the most powerful acts of discipline you can practice. You don't have to cut everyone off. You just have to decide who gets influence. Influence is sacred. Give it only to those who want to see you rise. And this lesson is deeply connected to learning English too. Your language environment determines how fast you grow. If all the voices around you speak doubt, "I'll never learn it," "my accent is bad," "it's too late," then your brain starts to believe it. But if you fill your world with English, if you listen to podcasts, watch interviews, read inspiring texts, and even think in English, your environment becomes your teacher. Language isn't just learned, it's absorbed. Every word you hear, every phrase you repeat, every sentence you write becomes part of who you are. The more you surround yourself with English, the more naturally it becomes part of your life. And the best part? You can build this environment anywhere. You don't need to live in London or New York to think in English. You just need intention. Listen to one motivational podcast every morning. Read a short paragraph out loud. Watch an interview before bed. Talk to yourself in English while walking or cooking. Step by step, you'll start to notice something incredible. Your thoughts will begin to switch to English automatically. That's when you'll realize you didn't just study English, you became someone who lives it. That's the power of your environment. It silently molds you into what you consistently see, hear, and repeat. So look around. Who and what fills your space? Replace noise with growth. Replace doubt with direction. Replace fear with language, learning, and purpose. The environment you choose today becomes the foundation of your tomorrow. Because just like in life, your English transformation doesn't come from waiting. It comes from designing. Build the space that supports your growth. Fill it with energy, positivity, and persistence. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize the person you've become speaks not just a new language, but a new mindset. That's how real change begins, with new words, new thoughts, and a new environment that pulls you toward your best self. That's right. Once you've changed your environment, built discipline, and taken full responsibility for your life, the next step is to aim forward. You can't just run away from the old, you must run towards something new. Every turnaround needs a target. When I realized that staying around the same voices would keep me small, I made a quiet promise to myself. If I don't change my environment will change me. And that's exactly what happens to most people. The world is always shaping you. The only question is whether it's shaping you by default or by design. So I went searching. I looked for new conversations, new examples, new energy. Sometimes that meant walking alone for a while, not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of commitment. Commitment to becoming the person I was meant to be. Growth often requires distance. You can love people deeply and still understand they can't go where you're going. I started protecting my dreams like fragile seeds. I stopped throwing them into rocky soil, into the ears of people who couldn't understand. Instead, I found people who had fruit on the tree, those who had done what I wanted to do. I let their stories become the wind in my sails, and you should too, especially if your dream is to master English or build something meaningful. Surround yourself with voices that make you grow, not shrink. Listen to people who believe in learning, in effort, in persistence. Spend time with those who inspire action, not excuses. Because your environment is stronger than your willpower, and if you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and mediocrity, even the strongest mindset will start to fade. Get around people who remind you of your strengths, not your weaknesses. People who speak about your potential, not your past. The truth is, the world is full of people willing to help, but you have to look for them. Ask yourself honestly, who's in my circle? Who am I listening to every day? Who's shaping my standards, my language, my goals? If the answers don't inspire you, change them. You can love people from a distance and still choose new influences. You can appreciate the role someone played in your past without letting them dictate your future, because your future depends on the company you keep. When you turn your life around, your new direction requires new associations. You can't climb while holding on to what keeps you grounded. Surround yourself with excellence, and excellence will become possible for you. Change the people you listen to, and you change the person you become. And now comes the next chapter, the one that turns energy into direction. You've made the decision. You've felt the pain. You've upgraded your philosophy. You've taken responsibility. You've built discipline. You've refined your circle. Now, you need a target. Without goals, even the strongest drive loses focus. You can't just run away from the old version of yourself. You must move toward a clear vision. Your goals are not just wishes written on paper. They are the coordinates of your future. They give meaning to your effort and precision to your discipline. Without them, motivation fades. With them, every step has purpose. And this is especially true for English learners or anyone chasing mastery. Don't just say, I want to improve my English. Make it specific. I will watch one full English interview every day. I will record myself speaking for 5 minutes every morning. I will learn 10 new words daily and use them in sentences. These are not random tasks. They're your compass. Each small, measurable goal pulls you forward, keeping you aligned with your vision. When your goals are clear, every action has a reason. You stop wandering and start advancing. The future no longer feels like a dream. It feels like a plan. Because once you set your goals, real, meaningful goals, something powerful begins to happen. Your energy stops scattering in every direction. Your mind becomes sharper. You wake up knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and that why becomes your fire. But here's the truth most people overlook. Your goals must not only inspire you, they must guide you. A vague goal like, I want to speak English fluently someday, won't move you forward. It's too far away, too abstract. But a goal like, I'll speak for 5 minutes every day in English without fear, that's real, it's clear. It's something your mind can grasp and measure. Progress in English, just like progress in life, is built from hundreds of small victories stacked together. One sentence spoken with confidence, one new word remembered, one conversation understood. These are the invisible bricks of fluency, and every single one counts. When you commit to those small steps, something magical happens. Your brain begins to rewire itself. You stop translating. You stop doubting. You start thinking in English. And that's when you know you're no longer just learning the language. You're living it. But even the strongest person sometimes needs a hand. That's why support matters. You can go fast alone, but you go far together. Whether it's a study partner, a podcast community, or just someone who believes in you, find people who remind you of your progress when you forget it. Don't isolate yourself on this journey. Learning a language is not only about grammar and vocabulary, it's about connection. It's about expressing your heart in new words, seeing yourself grow, and realizing you're capable of much more than you ever imagined. So if today feels hard, remember, it's supposed to. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first, but every time you speak, even if you make mistakes, you're becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more confident. Every lesson you learn brings you one step closer to the fluent, fearless version of yourself. Keep going. Protect your dream. Believe in the process, even when progress feels slow, because one day you'll look back and realize the moment you refused to give up, that was the day everything began to change.